Imagine a stranger walking through the Arizona desert who suddenly finds an entire Apache village under attack. One man against all odds steps in and saves them from certain destruction. What happens next will leave you speechless. Watch how bravery turns into honor, trust, and even unexpected love. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more incredible real-life stories you won't believe. He had been traveling through the Arizona desert for days, the scorching sun beating down and the wind whipping sand across his path. The small map he carried had long since faded from the heat, and his water supply was dangerously low. Yet the traveler pressed on, driven by instinct rather than plan. In the distance, he noticed a wisp of smoke curling into the clear blue sky. Curiosity sparked within him. Something or someone was there. As he approached, the faint sound of shouting and the clash of weapons grew louder. His trained eyes scanned the horizon, and his heart quickened. Hidden behind a rocky outcrop, he saw the scene unfold before him. An Apache village was under attack. A gang of ruthless bandits had descended upon it. Wielding rifles and torches, terror in their eyes, villagers scrambled in panic, some attempting to fight back with bows, others fleeing to hide their families. Children screamed, women shouted, and the chaos threatened to consume everything. The traveler's instincts sharpened. He couldn't walk away. With careful movements, he climbed the ridge to get a better vantage point. He observed patterns, noting the bandits' weaknesses, their lack of coordination, and the points where the villagers could fight back. He took a deep breath and stepped into action. Moving with precision, he picked off 2 bandits from a distance, using the terrain to conceal himself. The villagers, initially confused, saw a flicker of hope in his presence. He signaled them subtly, directing them toward better positions, making use of walls, rooftops, and the narrow canyons around the village. Slowly the tide began to turn. One by one the bandits fell into traps the traveler set, running into ambushes or stumbling over obstacles he had predicted. Each small victory emboldened the villagers, and fear began to give way to determination. As the sun climbed higher, sweat dripping from his brow, the traveler worked tirelessly. He didn't pause for rest or relief. He moved swiftly from one point to another, coordinating the villagers' efforts, rescuing those trapped in the chaos, and confronting the more aggressive bandits head-on. His hands were steady, his aim precise, and his mind a whirlwind of strategy. With each passing moment, the villagers began to trust him implicitly. Mothers guided children behind him for protection, and hunters joined him in striking the bandits with arrows and makeshift weapons. It was not just a fight for survival, it was a fight for the soul of the village. By mid-afternoon, the bandits' morale had faltered. Their shouts grew disorganized, and their attacks became reckless. The moment, pushing forward with calculated precision. He created diversions, leading groups of bandits away from the village's heart, and trapped them in narrow canyons where the villagers could defend themselves more effectively. His courage inspired others to rise, and soon the tide of battle had completely shifted. Villagers who had never held a weapon before were now fighting fiercely, their fear replaced by a newfound sense of unity and purpose. Every swing, every shot, every shout was a testament to their resilience. The village elder, a stoic man with silver hair and deep, wise eyes, observed from a distance. He had seen many outsiders, but none had faced danger with such unwavering bravery and skill. He felt a mix of astonishment and gratitude as he watched the traveler move seamlessly among his people, protecting them as if they were his own. The elder's heart swelled with admiration, and he knew that this man's actions were extraordinary. When the last of the bandits finally fled, retreating into the wilderness, the village erupted in cautious celebration. Relief washed over them, mingled with awe and respect. The traveler lowered his weapon, his chest heaving, eyes scanning for any remaining threats. The villagers gathered around him, some trembling, some crying, all of them staring in gratitude. The children approached, curious and cautious, while the elders nodded solemnly, acknowledging the man who had changed their fate. He didn't boast, nor did he seek recognition. His satisfaction came from seeing the lives he had saved, the homes preserved, and the families still intact. In that moment, He felt an unspoken connection to the village, as though destiny had placed him there for a reason. The elder finally approached, walking slowly but with authority. His voice was steady, carrying the weight of generations. "You have risked your life for us when no one else would," he said. "You are not just a stranger. You are family now." The traveler, still catching his breath, nodded respectfully. Words were not enough to convey the depth of the elder's gratitude. The villagers echoed the sentiment with silent gestures, hands pressed together. Heads bowed, eyes filled with respect. It was a rare and sacred acknowledgement, one that carried more meaning than any spoken phrase. The sun began its descent, casting long shadows over the village. Fires were lit to prepare evening meals, and the villagers moved with a mixture of caution and relief. The traveler was offered water, food, and a place to rest. Though exhausted, he accepted, understanding that this was more than hospitality. It was trust. Sitting among the people he had saved, he began to notice the intricacies of their culture, the patterns on their clothing, the care in their words, the pride in their traditions. He realized that the village was not just a place to protect, it was a living, breathing testament to resilience and heritage. That evening, as the villagers gathered around a large fire, the elder addressed everyone. He recounted the day's events, praising the bravery of the traveler and the courage of his people. The flames flickered across their faces, illuminating expressions of relief, pride, and newfound unity. Children listened wide-eyed, inspired by the story of heroism. Adults shared glances, silently acknowledging the life-changing events. The traveler remained humble, blending into the group rather than standing apart. He felt a sense of belonging he had not experienced in years, a bond forged not through blood, but through shared struggle and triumph. Night fell over the village, bringing a calm that had been absent for hours. The traveler sat near the fire, gazing at the stars. The desert was vast, yet here he found a sense of home, a purpose beyond his solitary journey. He understood that courage and honor were not just personal traits. They were catalysts for change, capable of inspiring entire communities. The villagers had faced annihilation, yet they survived, united and empowered. And he had been the spark that lit that unity. Gratitude and respect flowed silently around him, a force as tangible as the desert wind. As the fire died down, the elder approached once more, his face solemn yet warm. "You have saved my tribe," he said, his voice steady, carrying centuries of tradition and authority. "For that you have earned our trust, our respect, and our family." The traveler met the elder's gaze, recognizing the sincerity and weight of the moment. He realized that this encounter had changed him as much as it had changed the village. Bonds had been formed that no one could sever. That night, the desert felt alive, not with danger, but with the promise of honor, unity, and unexpected destiny. The morning sun rose over the desert, casting golden light across the village. The traveler awoke to the sounds of life, children laughing, women preparing meals, and elders moving with purpose. Though weary from the previous day's battle, he felt a quiet strength within him. The village had survived, and a new chapter was beginning. The elder approached, walking with steady confidence. "It is time we honor your bravery," he said, his voice carrying both pride and tradition. The traveler listened carefully, understanding that this was more than gratitude. It was a bond that would shape his life forever. The elder led him to a small courtyard where his daughter waited. She was strong and poised, her eyes sharp yet curious. The villagers had spoken of her courage and wisdom, and now the traveler understood why. This was not a simple marriage offer. It was a merging of families, of trust, and of destiny. The young woman stepped forward, extending her hand as a gesture of respect. The traveler took it gently, acknowledging the significance. Their eyes met, and in that silent exchange, an understanding was born, rooted in admiration, honor, and the promise of partnership. As the days passed, the traveler integrated fully into village life. He helped repair the homes damaged during the attack, worked alongside hunters and farmers, and learned the intricate ways of the Apache people. He observed their rituals, their songs, their dances under the full moon, and he grew to respect the deep wisdom that guided them. His presence was no longer that of a stranger, but of a guardian, a teacher, and a friend. Villagers looked to him with admiration, and slowly, the initial awe transformed into trust. As he became a part of the community's heartbeat, the elder spent hours teaching him about the traditions, the stories passed down through generations, and the sacred responsibilities of the tribe. He learned the value of courage, not only in battle, but in leadership, compassion, and vision. The young woman, meanwhile, became a guide and companion, helping him navigate social customs and the subtleties of communication within the tribe. Through shared work and conversation, a bond formed, built on mutual respect and shared experiences. Slowly, admiration shifted toward deeper feelings, though neither spoke of them openly. In every gesture, in every shared smile, a story of trust and emerging love began to unfold. The traveler began to understand the depth of the elder's decision. Offering his daughter was not simply a reward, it was a sacred act, one that required confidence in the traveler's integrity and character. The young woman herself carried the strength of her people in her movements, her voice, and her presence. She challenged him, teased him, and guided him in ways that inspired growth. Together they learned from one another, blending the traveler's experience with the traditions of the Apache. The partnership was subtle at first, marked by respect, then by shared laughter, and eventually by quiet moments of connection that spoke louder than words. Months passed and the village thrived. The bandits had not returned, and news of the traveler's heroism spread to nearby settlements. Traders came to exchange goods, and the community grew stronger, united by the memory of survival and the presence of the traveler. His leadership inspired confidence, but he remained humble, always giving credit to the villagers who had risen to defend their home. At night, under the stars, he would walk with the young woman, sharing stories of the world beyond the desert while learning hers. Their conversations were filled with curiosity, empathy, and unspoken feelings that deepened with each passing day. One evening, the elder called the traveler to the ceremonial grounds. The village gathered, anticipation in the air. Flames from torches danced across the sand, casting flickering shadows over the faces of the villagers. The elder spoke of honor, bravery, and the bonds forged through courage. He declared that the traveler had proven himself not only as a protector, but as a man worthy of trust, then with solemn pride, he formally offered his daughter in marriage. The young woman stepped forward, her eyes steady, her voice clear. "I accept," she said, and the villagers erupted in joyous celebration. The ceremony was simple yet profound. The couple exchanged tokens of respect, a woven cloth and a small carved pendant, symbolizing their bond and shared responsibility. The traveler felt the weight of commitment, understanding that this was more than love. It was honor, duty, and partnership in preserving the village's future. Their hands joined, not just in a gesture of marriage, but as a promise to walk forward together through life's challenges. The community cheered, drums beating and voices raised in song. It was a night of celebration, unity and hope, marking the beginning of a shared journey that would endure beyond any single lifetime. In the weeks that followed, the traveler and his new partner worked side by side. He learned farming techniques unique to the desert, hunting methods passed down through generations, and the ways of spiritual guidance. She became a teacher to him, while he became a protector of the village. Their partnership was balanced, respectful, and strong. Through shared struggles, laughter, and quiet moments of reflection, their bond deepened. The villagers watched, inspired by a union that exemplified courage, respect, and love, knowing that their community was stronger than ever because of the choices made in moments of bravery. The traveler began to feel a sense of belonging he had never known. The desert, once a lonely expanse, now felt alive with connection and purpose. He no longer wandered aimlessly. He had roots, responsibilities, and a family. The young woman became his confidant, his guide, and his equal in every way. Together, they envisioned a future not just for themselves, but for the village and the generations to come. Their love was not rushed. It was cultivated through mutual respect, shared experience, and understanding of the deep value of tradition. Every day they grew closer, bonded by courage, honor, and empathy. As seasons changed, the village flourished under their combined guidance. Crops thrived, children learned the old stories and new lessons, and the community's resilience became renowned across the region. Travelers passing through spoke of the hero who had saved a village and married the elder's daughter, a union of courage, respect, and destiny. The couple worked tirelessly, ensuring that the legacy of bravery, wisdom, and honor endured. They faced challenges together, whether harsh weather or scarce resources, always guided by the principles that had brought them together: trust, courage, and unwavering respect. Years later, the traveler and his partner walked through the village hand in hand, watching children play, listening to elders share stories, and feeling the pulse of a thriving community. Their journey had begun with a single act of bravery, yet it had transformed into something far greater, a life of purpose and shared responsibility. The elder watched them, proud that his choice had brought not just safety, but unity and hope. Their story became legend, a tale told around fires to inspire courage and remind everyone that honor and selflessness could change destinies. One night, under a sky filled with stars, the traveler and his wife stood atop a ridge overlooking the desert. The wind whispered through the canyons, carrying the scent of sage and earth. They reflected on how far they had come, from strangers, brought together by circumstance, to partners in life and guardians of a community. He squeezed her hand and she smiled, understanding the unspoken promise of shared courage and love. Together, they had turned a moment of heroism into a lifetime of meaning, and their story would live on in the hearts of those who valued honor, bravery, and unity. The village remained a sanctuary, a place where bravery was honored, love was respected, and tradition guided every action. The traveler, once a solitary wanderer, had found a home, a family, and a purpose beyond himself. The young woman had gained a partner who respected her strength and heritage. Together, they embodied the ideals of courage, honor, and partnership. Their legacy was not just in the victories of battle, but in the trust, respect, and love that bound them to each other, and to the people who had welcomed them with open hearts. Destiny had found them both,